How you doing, everybody? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, and I'm glad you're attending this particular show today. And what I want to bring to you is a special guest, and what we're going to talk about is why women need to build muscles. And the reason why I wanted to bring this particular discussion to the audience is because we spend a lot of times on this platform talking about the markets. We spend a lot of times talking about how to make money, how to be successful financially. But what I wanted to make sure we did this year and going into the next year is start integrating the health aspect, because we understand that if you don't have the health, if you don't have the well-being as far as with your body and with your health, it doesn't matter what you build from a monetary standpoint, because essentially what you're going to do is you're going to lose it all trying to get your health back. And so what I want to continue to do as we go more and more into the end of the year, but also the top of the year, is bringing more people that have expertise and have experience in helping people accomplish their health and fitness goals. So we have Coach Nisi to talk about why women need to build muscles. And the reason why I wanted to bring her on is because she posted something on her social media about it being a little bit of controversy about women doing weight training. And I thought that she could bring a really, really interesting perspective to that particular conversation, because what I don't want is women to get left out of accomplishing their health and fitness goals, having a lot of health issues as they get older and older into age, because they haven't focused on that, because they felt like maybe it wasn't feminine, maybe it wasn't appealing, or maybe it wasn't attractive. So Coach Nisi, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mr. Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really glad you was able to come on today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
No problem. No problem. So let's get right into it. So what I want to do is kind of introduce you to the audience. So we know your name, but can you give us a little bit of understanding of, what business you're involved in and what you do in the health and fitness space?
Well, again, yes, my name is Shanicia Ewing, and I am the owner and founder of Uncovering the New You. Uncovering the New You is a fitness transformation company that utilizes physical fitness to uncover the root of our struggles and our health and wellness, to really discover where we want to be and how do we get there, and then recover the person that we either desire to be or the person that we once were, after we have found so many things going wrong in our lives, or we have just taken on so much more. And we really focus on utilizing this through fitness and transformation.
Okay. And so let me ask you, because I've been connecting you on social media for a few years, and I've always known you to be very much in shape, to be very much a proponent of health and fitness. How did you get involved in the health and fitness space?
So two reasons. Currently I'm a U.S. Army drill sergeant.
Okay.
And then on the second phase, I was a homeless pregnant mom. On the one side, at the time I was deployed in Iraq, and I was helping some soldiers to get ready for the what we used to have called the Army Physical Fitness Test. And in that test, they were just struggling, being outside, being in theaters, what we call it when we were in Iraq. And I taught a spin class over there, and my soldiers were like, listen, Sergeant Hopkins at the time, they said, you really, really need, to become a personal trainer. And I'm like, what do you mean? And at the time I volunteered for this specific mission, simply because I was a homeless pregnant mom and I did not know where to go. Right. I had a lot of education, but not a lot of experience. And I needed to be able to feed my son quickly. So between getting my certification overseas and then also too, knowing why I did it. So I took what I love to do most, which is exercise, fitness. That's a part of my career. That's what keeps us going. And then also too, just trying to find another way and another outlet for me to be able to bring in some extra money and being able to provide for me and my son at the time.
Okay, so you talked about enjoying the exercise, and that's something that we may have in common, because I also enjoy exercise and being often. So what about exercise do you really enjoy? Like, what about it is enjoyable to you?
So, I have many parts of my life. This is, I know you're like, well, she's all over the place. Well, fitness saved my life in many places. I dealt with depression for a while. And when I say for a while is because it was taking over my life. We never really get over depression. We learn how to work around it and work through it, those circumstances. And fitness was an outlet for me, being able to just go walking, because I didn't have the money for gym memberships, but being able to realize what the aftermath of exercise did for me. It provided me clarity, especially when I did, I used to love HIIT training, high intensity interval training. That was one of my favorites. But the way it made me feel afterwards. And so, over time, it just made me feel good right after the math, getting weight. I didn't have to talk to nobody. I didn't have to fuss with no one. I would leave all my anger with the weights or in that particular workout. So the way it made me feel ultimately was really where it really kind of gravitated to me the most. And then also too, the way it made me look I always had some body image issues, right? Starting from high school all the way up. And the military puts a heavy presence on our image, on what we look like in uniform. And so dealing with that, I realized that if you want to change, you can through exercise. You really have to just put in the work, be consistent, and find what works for you. So, it kind of tackled a lot of things when it came down to my body.
Okay, I understand that. And so you being very enthusiastic, but what made you so passionate about it that you decided that you wanted to help other people achieve their lifestyle goals? So I understand, like me, I work out a lot, I'm very active, but I don't want to teach other people how to do it. What made you decide that you wanted to be so passionate about it? You said, well, let me try to help other people achieve some of their lifestyle goals through health and fitness.
Again, fitness saved my life. You
Okay.
understand what I'm saying? Fitness saved my life. And when I started training other people, because I started with 1 5-pound weight, and I was only charging, people $35 a month. You know what I mean? Like, and that was only just a way for me to get some gas money to get to work, or just a meal for me and my son. It was really small. And one lady who constantly kept calling me and calling me and calling me and said, Nisi, I know you don't have all of the resources, because I had nothing, no building, no structure, nothing. All I had was a few weights that I was buying, from, Goodwill. I was utilizing secondary resources to get these weights. And she kept calling me and saying, Nisi, I need you. You're great. Your energy is good. You're really helping me take back my life. And at this time, she's over 400 pounds. She has 6 kids, and she just needs to do something. And that activity and that connection. And she says, you really got to give for this. And you don't give that up. Even, and now today she's 197 pounds, right? So that right there started it. And then I have another client that I later met up with. She was a 2-time breast cancer survivor. She almost lost her life, and she and I were working together. And when I was able to help her again lose this, and again, she was really like maybe out of 1 or 2 clients that I had, both of us in the military. She's like, I really want to get me back, because I don't like myself right now. And when I was able to help her lose over 75 pounds, she had an amazing husband who was by her side, amazing children. And then on top of that, she was really in tune with me. And she loved, again, that energy, that same thing from the very first client. So it came from my clients, the people that I'm working with, on how I made them feel. And I remember how exercise made me feel. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so through life-changing stories and transformations with my clients, all of these things became what I needed to keep going and to truly make this what I'm supposed to do. Because I had all the other things that I wanted to do: go to law school, go back to medical school, I've got my doctorate, all sorts of things. But this is where I want to be. This is where my heart is, helping other people to take back their confidence, their life, their quality, enhance the quality of their life, and just build from there.
Okay, okay. And so now let's talk about some of the challenges that a lot of women may have in going to the gym and actually, working on building muscle. So we're going to talk about the 4 objections. We're going to break them down 1 through 4.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I experience, because I spend a lot of time in the gym and working out, is that I see a lot of women that are really in good shape, or that work out on a regular basis. Because one thing about, if you go to a gym, you start to see the same people over and over again.
Right.
But I think a lot of women, especially, they may have a objection to working out, because they may not really understand what it's going to bring, things of that nature. And I may not know as much about their objections as you. So let's go about, what are some of the objections? Let's start with number 1. So what do you think one objection would be to a woman going and working out and trying to, improve on her health and fitness?
I don't have time.
Okay.
Most women are mothers. Most women are wives or spouses, and they have their job, and they feel guilty about taking 30 minutes, an hour away from their children, away from their spouse, away from their home. Like the dishes are going to get up and walk, like the laundry is going to get up and walk. They feel guilty about being able to take that time. And so for them, they don't have enough time to make for themselves.
Okay. So then what we think would be objection number 2?
It takes too long.
Okay.
right? For change. Change is hard for people, especially when they've been a certain way all their life. And knowing that they have to break the habits, they have to be consistent with building newer habits. Well, actually, go back to step two is understanding what new habits they need to gain. That third one is now building a consistent pattern with the new habits and then start seeing the changes. People want change automatically. They want that instant gratification, which ultimately deters people because they'll see one thing, you can do beside photos. They'll see it and they won't see any changes, like nothing's happening, but they don't realize energy has changed, sleep has changed, the way they're eating, how much they're eating, where they're eating, like those things change and they don't see those small changes. They want to see the bigger picture. So a lot of times they say it takes too long.
Okay. Okay. So we understood time. It takes too long. So what do you think objection number three would be?
I don't like lifting weights.
Okay.
Many women say all the time, I don't want to be muscular. Women genetically, you can't look like a man, right? Unless you're taking something over, you know what I mean? That's not over the counter. And genetically, we are not going to be as strong or powerful either. We can be very strong. We can, go out here and lift, a few pounds, but there's always going to be a man who could do a little bit more. And the thing about it is women don't realize that lifting weights keeps our girls up. It helps us tone, get rid of the extra dimples and get rid of the cellulite. It helps to get rid of the fat around our heart. It helps to speed up our energy levels. It helps to burn fat. It helps to tighten up that loose skin. Like there are so many benefits to lifting weights. And then again, no one told you had to lift 500 pounds. No one told you even had to lift 50. What you want to do and what you desire to do can be done with a 10 or 15-pound weight.
Okay. And then so we talked about women not really wanting to lift weights. And then what do you think objection number four would be?
I don't like to eat. So I
Okay.
eat 6 meals a day. And
Okay.
most of my clients say that's way too much. My portion sizes are small. You understand? And so a lot of them say they rather sit down, have a meal, and they go on about their business and they forget to eat, right? That forgetting piece. And oftentimes they'll sit around and they'll just say, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat the same things over again. I want something different. So, it's not necessarily I don't like to eat. I don't like to eat the healthy foods, whatever they want to consider that.
Yes, ma'am. And so let's go back through the objections and how you've been successful in overcoming those objections to get that particular client to understand what they need to do to accomplish their goals. So with the first objection of time, how would you normally try to overcome that objection?
I tell my clients, you got 1,440 minutes a day,
Okay.
right? And in those minutes, it's the desire, what you desire to do. Now you tell me how long are you on social media daily? How long do you watch the news and how, watching the stories, Love and Hip Hop, all these other, stories that are out here. You know what I mean? How do you get out here and you waste your time here when you could be giving yourself 30 to 40 minutes, even 15 to start? And I break it down on what their life could look like if they would just simply add in a 30 to 45-minute workout at least 3 to 4 times a week. And getting outside, what that would look like. And so when I break down their day-to-day lifestyle, even if you're working 1 or 2 different jobs, getting up and moving around, the activities. And so it's going to be based individually, of course, right? But I break down their lifestyle. And I show them where they actually have the time and making that commitment to their health, right? Versus looking at, TV or scrolling social media.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And one of the things that you talked about is that I think the American Heart Association encourages, I think it's 150 minutes of exercise per week just as a baseline.
Yes.
From your experience, do you see people getting in at least that 150 baseline of exercise per week? Okay. Okay.
No.
Okay. And you think you think that's because they feel like they don't have the time to fit that into their regular schedule?
Yeah, people look at it as a constraint. So, again, when people factor in, I used to live in the DMV, right?
Okay.
I live in Atlanta now, and the traffic is horrible. But when I used to live in the DMV, I could work here. My base was here, and my house was here. It would take me about 45 minutes just to get from here to here, literally in that distance. I could walk to work if I wanted to, right? Most times I did because it was quicker. It was a 15, 20-minute walk versus 45 minutes here. right? And a lot of times people see that as a challenge, like, oh God, I got to sit in traffic. I got to go get gas. I got to do this. And they make up all of these excuses of why I'm not going to fix my gym bag at night. I'm not going to do this. And I'm just going to go home. I'm tired. They're not really tired physically. They're tired. They're tired of work. They want to decompress, but their decompression is not exercise. It's watching the news, watching the stories, scrolling on Facebook, and then they order out of from DoorDash.
Yeah, yeah, you're right about that. Okay, okay. Now, with that second objection being, it takes too long to see change. What would you say to try to overcome that particular objection?
You didn't get here overnight.
Okay.
Right? Your change didn't come overnight. I mean, your weight loss, your weight gain didn't come overnight. Your struggles and your behaviors didn't come overnight. Let's be real, right? Just like that job you wanted, the job that you have right now. The biggest thing was for you to get the education to get the job or to develop the skill. But then you couldn't go and get the top tier position. You couldn't apply for that because you had to serve your time. You had to come in. You got to show that you're worthy of the promotion, worthy of that next position. That took time. And then you still didn't get that pay raise because you still had to put in the skin in the game. So you coming in day one was not going to get you the same pay that somebody has been there for 10 years. So the same thing with your health. You go into the gym, day after day for about 2 weeks, and you're like, "Oh, I don't see no changes." Well, did you change your sleep? Did you change how much water you're drinking? Did you change your activity level? Did you go to the gym to just take your selfies and go on? Did you actually push? I start asking those realistic questions and accountability, right? It's the deal. It's not going to happen overnight. You've got to be real with yourself. Your body is like science. And if you don't know what you're doing, making the basic changes are going to give you basic results. When you're looking for those extreme changes, that's where you need to be more specific. That's where you need to gain a little bit more knowledge and being able to get over the basics and the fundamentals, right? Basic stuff will give you basic education, just like knowing the basic for your job is going to give you a basic pay.
Okay. And so I want to kind of get you to expand on that because one of the things we see in health and fitness is the 90-day plans, the 90-day programs where it's very short term to get the short term result. Here's how to lose this many pounds in this amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we think so many people are attracted to going on a 90-day run just to lose the pounds, but there's really not a long-term program that's part of that particular weight loss? So once they lose the 90 pounds, they feel like they've accomplished their goal.
Well, because it's quick and then
Okay.
there's not a lot of changes. A lot of people are afraid of change. I mean, let's be real. A lot of people don't like to change. A lot of people don't like to give up the things that they have been doing for 15, plus years. A lot of people don't, right? But the thing is that they can get get their summer body, right? Whatever they like, or get to a lower goal, a lower weight. They're okay with that, but not looking at, guess what? Once you go on your little vacation and you go and you eat and you drink and you turn up and have a good time, guess what's going to come back? All the weight, maybe some after that 90 days, because you change no behaviors, you change no system, you change no consistent pattern. You never develop a consistent pattern. So, a lot of people look at it because it's quick, right? It's usually easy. You're following a meal plan, that's consistent. You learn a few exercises and boom, you get your, get some type of result within the first 90 days.
Okay. Okay. I feel you. Okay. So with objection 4 being, I don't like to eat. And you talked about you eating multiple meals per day, but very small meals. What do you say to overcome that particular objection?
So I show people what the portion sizes are.
Okay.
I use almonds, right? My clients know they're like, why are you eating 12 almonds, coach? Like, really, 12 is not enough to fill you up. And I said, it really is, because that's a serving size. When we go into the grocery store and you think about it, or just even the convenience store, we need a little snack. Think about that pack of almonds that you purchase, right? And they usually say it's about maybe 2 or 3 servings.
Okay.
And we start doing this. Shaking up the almonds. Next thing you know, the whole bag is gone. That entire bag, right? When we start looking at the total amount of calories, we look at it, it says 120 calories. That's per serving. And then when I show them and break this down, that they're actually eating against what they're trying to do. You eat that whole bag, you just ate 240 calories. Then it says 7 grams of fat per serving. That's 14 grams of fat that you just digested. 520 milligrams of sodium. That's 1,040 right there that you have just ingested, right? People don't look at that. They don't take time. They just know that they're hungry. So instead of eating large meals where you're consuming most of the time bad foods, your macaronis, your noodles, your pastas, you're looking at your ribs, you eat tons and tons of that, not understanding that the serving sizes in the United States are overly heavy. They're heavy. You're eating about 2 to 3 serving sizes usually when you order from fast food to go to a restaurant. There's very few restaurants unless you pay high end, to actually get the proper portion size. And so I teach my clients what a small serving size looks like because it's not a lot of food, but it's enough for you to eat right what you're doing. And then another 2 to 3 hours, there you go, you eat another small meal and you eat another small meal afterwards. So that small meal helps to not only shrink the gut, but it also helps you to control those cravings. It also helps you to control the amount of snacking that you're doing in between, because now you know within that 2 to 3 hours between the water that you're consuming and then the food that you just ate that's good, not heavy in sauces, greases, oils, and fat. You're eating good, clean food in a plate. 2 to 3 hours, you're going to have something else. And that's going to fill you back up and cut what you're eating. So I show my clients exactly on how to eat, right? What that portion size looks like, what is right for them. And so, when you say you don't like to eat, you don't like to eat the same foods, which is fine because, I'm a creature of habit. Let's spice it up. Learn to cook your own foods, right? And then you'll be able to celebrate at the end of the week with something that you enjoy lightly, though, with one meal, So I have a balance there. You got to find your balance with that.
Okay. And so I wanted to ask you, because you kind of talked on that in your explanation, is that what would you suggest a person does to deal with a lot of their food cravings? Because one of the things that we do growing up is we a lot of times attach emotional fulfillment to our food.
Yes.
And so often we can be feeling bad about something, be feeling depressed, and we believe that the food item, a lot of times because of how it's composed, is going to make us feel better. And a lot of times how we get this relationship with eating bad food. How do we work with people to where they don't attach, I feel good because I've been able to eat this piece of food, even though that piece of food may be negative to my health?
So this is going to be individual. I
Okay.
am a transformation coach, and it runs in the line of me really we getting to the root of that problem, right?
Okay.
That's understanding where that emotional attachment comes from.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's just say one of my clients loves cake. She loves key lime pie. One of the things about that key lime pie that she's attached to was something that her mother made, and I said, okay, well here, let's do this, and then you can have that, right? But then we look at it like we're not taking it away, right? Because being stripped of something is a negative connotation, like somebody's taking something away. And it's not a good feeling to feel like you're being restricted. I don't like diets. I don't do diets. Like that's for me. I don't do it. Right. And so my thing is moderation and balance. So I said to her, we've got a goal though, right? We reviewed on how she felt about herself. We reviewed on what her goals look like. And I said, well, if you give me, 2 weeks of good, consistent working out. She worked out at the time 3 days a week, and then she went outside for her cardio 2 days. And on Saturdays and Sundays were her rest days. We looked at that, evaluated that, and then we said, okay, in that third week, that weekend that you go out, you can have your key lime pie, because that was a reward for the consistency that she was giving herself. And she noticed that with that consistency, she was able to change her mindset. She don't need that pie every week. She doesn't need that. Her body didn't crave it, right? But she was thinking about it, but because we know what it's attached to, but we didn't take it away.
Okay.
So, Talina, yes, it is mindset, my girl. It is a lot of that mindset. Is you have to change your mindset and your connection to the food, but you got to get down to the root of where that food comes from. When it's connected to our childhood and we miss those parts of our childhood, or we miss the family member that made it, we sometimes want to overeat it, feeling like we're keeping them close, right? And that, again, it's individual because some of the food is attached to trauma also. And I'm not a licensed therapist. Even though I have my doctorate in the field of psychology, I am not licensed yet. So what I do as a coach is I build up that connection for them to take that to the therapist, building up that understanding of where they are, and being able to say, if I do this, then I can have that, which is like a reward system.
Okay.